In the heart of India lives an ancient jungle with towering peaks that rival the Himalaya and Nilgiri. Rivers weave through its forests and grasslands, where prey and predators have roamed for millennia. Rock shelters whisper prehistoric tales, breathing life into an ancient civilization. A feast for all five senses. It's time to look closer and listen carefully. It's time to break away in Pachmarhi. The capital of Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal, is an enchanting city with its stunning lakes and a breathtaking landscape. Just a 3-hour drive southwards via the Narmadapuram district lies the Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve. Spread across 3 districts, a protected area of roughly 5,000 square kilometers is divided as the Pachmarhi Sanctuary, Satpura National Park and Bori Wildlife Sanctuary. And we begin our journey from the highest point of this landscape, the Pachmarhi Sanctuary, a geological masterpiece sculpted over millions of years.
You have this huge hunk of rock in the Satpura, in the higher Satpura. This is the highest point of central India. So you have this very ancient range of mountains which have been eroded to about half their height. And because of the way the erosion has taken place, the very precipitous heights, you've actually created very, very interesting microhabitats in over there. That means you go to from about 1,500 feet or so around Marai, all the way up to over 3,500 feet. So within that span, you're capturing habitats which are not available anywhere else in Madhya Pradesh.
Over millions of years, this landscape has evolved to become the unique genetic highway between the Himalaya in the north and the Nilgiri in the south.
This is the only isolated patch of sal forest which is surrounded by teak-dominated forests. And that is something unique as to why that happened, what led to that relic sal. And finally, you have these very, very deep, almost sunless gorges, which harbor unique flora and fauna. There is a hypothesis that that was actually the origin of all mangoes, that the wild mango actually evolved in these gorges.
These ancient forests have nurtured diverse life forms for millions of years. Rocks carved out by time preserve painted memories of the last hunter-gatherers, perhaps one of the earliest human settlements in this part of the world. And humans have had a profound bond with this landscape long since. For centuries, a way of life and these forests were sustained by the Kond, Bharia and Korku communities. Memories of Korku ancestors continue to be etched out on wooden slabs by successive generations, finding solace beneath their sacred Badadev. Faith finds a different form in another part of the landscape. Deep in a ravine with enormous boulders perched above is the Jata Shankar cave. Stalagmites and stalactites that give an impression of being locks of Shiva, or Vasuki, the serpent around his neck, draw in devotees from far and wide. Pachmarhi, a captivating land of age-old customs and beliefs. This secret world was hidden for centuries from the outside world, until 1857, when Captain James Forsyth chanced upon this spectacular vision. The Priyadarshini Point gives an unmatched view of this expanse. Woven in Victorian chimneys and slated roofs, Pachmarhi's tales continue. In the buildings that are tourist bungalows today, to the church bells that ring every Sunday. This yellow bungalow was the first of them all. Bison Lodge, Forsyth's former home, now a museum, is the perfect introduction to this landscape and its residents. Tourists flock at Dhoopgarh, the highest point of Pachmarhi, as the day comes to a close. Smiles and silhouettes preserved as digital memories with the majestic backdrop of Satpura Hills shimmering in sun-kissed gold hues. The lifeline of the Satpura Tiger Reserve is the Denva River. Originating near Dhoopgarh, the river wraps around the reserve. To reach the Madhya zone of the reserve, you have to cross the Denva, a one-of-its-kind tiger reserve in India where you can walk in the footsteps of the magnificent wild. In less than a 3-hour drive from Pachmarhi town, you can reach the Madhya range by road.
I had grown up doing tourism in 1978 in the old parks where walking used to be allowed. So the idea that, it's dangerous to go into the forests and so on, we had gone past that. We knew that, yes, it can be dangerous, but as long as you have well-trained guides who know what they're doing, properly briefed tourists, walking in the forests is no more dangerous than any other activity. When you're on foot, you're hearing alarm calls in a better way, you're hearing sounds in a better way. You can actually stop and look at tracks and understand what is going on over there. So you actually engage with the forest in its entirety.
देखिए सर, ये जो पेड़ देख रहे हैं आप? जी हाँ। ये गूलर का पेड़ है। ये जो पेड़ होता है फाइकस स्पीसीज का होता है। रेड एंड जो है वो वहाँ पे देख सकते हैं आप। हाँ। वो ग्रीन कलर की लीव्स जो आपस में जॉइंट दिख रही है। जो बहुत सारी लीफ एक साथ। हाँ हाँ। जिनका बीवर एंड्स का कुछ लोग जो है चटनी वगैरह बना के भी खाते हैं ना। आप इसके ट्रंक पे देख सकते हैं फ्रूट्स हैं। बाकी पेड़ों में हम लोगों ने देखा कि डाल पे आपको फ्रूट्स देखने को मिलेंगे और इन फ्रूट्स को जाइंट स्क्विरल वगैरह बर्ड्स जो हैं वो खाना पसंद करते हैं। आप आसपास इस पेड़ के देख सकते हैं जाइंट स्क्विरल के नेस्ट वगैरह भी हैं।
Endemic to India, the Indian giant squirrel, usually found in the western and eastern Ghats, is also found leaping between trees in this part of the Satpura ranges. The mascot of the Satpura Tiger Reserve has even got a local nickname.
Satpura actually came in originally with the night safaris. That then grew to camping in the forest, to walking in the forest, to cycling in the forest, to specific bird watching. And so the buffer zone around Satpura has become a magical place to actually explore the wilderness.
A nightly forest adventure in the Parsapani zone leads to a campsite in the heart of the forest. Under a star-studded sky to gaze at and let the night drift away. Rising up before the sun in the Madhya Forest rest house sets the right tone for the day.
Satpura is really special for multiple reasons. It's literally the heart of India, and it has been such a secret for so long, and it's really well preserved. This is one of the few parks where you have to actually cross the river to get to the park. It's a great combination of backwaters, it's got the mountains, it's got grasslands. So, just the combination, and also the biodiversity is fantastic. Excellent birding because of the water. Central India is my home, MP is my home. The moment I started to see the jungles, I used to have the sense of being at home, and that feeling has sort of stayed. I remember instances on my first posting, there was this tiger sighting happening, and people stopped when I drove by. I mean, they stopped photographing the tiger to take a photo of this girl who was driving this four-wheel drive. But now I think in every park in MP, there are women guides, and I'm very proud to say and very happy that the first women guides of Satpura and Pachmarhi have been trained by me. And specifically the women who come here, the ones who've had the gumption, being from these rural areas, they've had the gumption and the courage to step out and do this. They really, enthuse so many others in and around them.
Satpura Tiger Reserve is a globally significant landscape for tiger conservation. And to make conservation efforts successful, the involvement of local communities is key.
ये आपने कैसे सोचा कि पार्क में आपको मौका किसने दिया टाइगर रिजर्व में गाइड बनने का?
मैम, जैसे मुझे पता चला कि गाइड की जो वैकेंसी निकली है उसमें मैंने फॉर्म डाला। जो मेरे घर वाले थे वो बिल्कुल इच्छुक नहीं थे। मैंने जैसे फॉर्म डाला तो बहुत सभी मना करते थी, नहीं ये लड़के वाला काम है, उनके बीच में नहीं, अच्छा नहीं लगता, नहीं करने दूंगा। फिर मैंने जैसे ही मैंने एग्ज़ाम दिया उसमें पास हुई। जैसे ही मेरी पहले महीने की सैलरी आई, मैंने पापा के हाथ में दी। मैंने कहा पापा बहुत अच्छा काम है, सोचो मेरे आगे पीछे कोई करने वाला नहीं है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है उसमें। जब से ये वर्दी पहनी हूँ मेरे अंदर एक डबल हिम्मत आ गई है जो मेरे में कभी नहीं थी।
Vimla is from the first batch of women guides in Satpura with years of experience on the field. Mohita, on the other hand, is just starting to learn the ropes of this job. The Sahara buffer zone is perfect to set a gentle flow as you slowly pedal away in admiration of the trees of the landscape.
ये वाला जो ट्री देख रहे हो सर आप जी, क्रोकोडाइल वार्क ट्री है। आप छू कर देखिए, बिल्कुल क्रोकोडाइल की स्किन की तरह है ये। हाँ, क्रोकोडाइल की स्किन तरह है। इसका लोकल नाम है साज। पहले के जो आदिवासी लोग रहते थे इसकी पूजा करा करते थे। इसमें पानी कलेक्ट करने की बहुत अच्छी क्षमता रहती है। गर्मियों में जैसे पानी की कमी हो जाती है ना, तो इसमें होल करते हैं तो पानी निकलता है। इसको बड़ा देव के नाम से वो पूजा करते हैं इसकी। ये जैसा जैसा बड़ा होता जाएगा इसकी बार्क भी वैसे बड़ी होते जाएगी, मतलब पूरा शो करने लगा क्रोकोडाइल की तरह। इसका बार्क का कलर भी चेंज हो जाएगा, पूरा ब्लैक रहता है, फिर डार्क ग्रे। ये ट्री देख रहे हैं सर आप, महुआ ट्री। देखिए उसमें फ्लावर्स आना स्टार्ट हो गए हैं। तो इसको
कलेक्ट करके पूरा सुखाएंगे। काफ़ी बर्ड्स इसमें बैठती हैं। ये वाइट कलर का फ्लावर से रहता है, सूख कर ये रेड हो जाएगा।
अच्छा।
फूल होता है सफ़ेद रंग का और फल होता है लाल रंग का। फूल का बनता है महुआ और फल का बनता है गुल्ली का तेल। गुलेंदा खाती हैं, महुआ का फूल खाती हैं। हाँ, हर जानवर का, पक्षी का उसका पेट पलता है उनमें। भालू भी आता है, बंदर भी आता है, बंदर बहुत खाता है।
Food, water and space are the three key ingredients for a healthy wildlife balance, and the Satpura landscape offers them all in abundance.
When you're floating down, slowly down this river, you see a lot of migratory birds.
Canoeing down the Denva at sunset is the best way to unwind from an excitement-filled day with a slow, unhurried engagement with the forest.
You see the crocs when you're canoeing. That's really special to see also.
The Churna range of the Bori Wildlife Sanctuary is wearing spring on its sleeves. The young ones are out and about, frolicking, feasting, and generally fussing about around their mothers, as children often do. This lowest lying region of the Pachmarhi biosphere, Churna, is the best kept secret of Satpura Tiger Reserve. A 35-kilometer long safari from Madhya to Churna takes you through the core of the park, or you can take the safari from the Bhimkund gate. Established in 1865 along the Tava River, the Bori Reserve Forest is the oldest forest reserve in India.
The fauna and flora in, say, places like Churna and Marai, which are the drier, sort of flatter landscapes, which are common to most of dry, deciduous forests, faunal and floral biodiversity, is completely matchless outside or, for central India.
Afternoons here are hot and slow. While the guests take shelter in the forest rest house, the animals graze their way to the nearest shade for an afternoon siesta. Meanwhile, out on foot is a patrolling team, keeping track of the big cats and their territories.
चलो लीजिए पगमार पे इसका फोटो लीजिए, टाइगर का ही।
जी सर।
इसके अलावा और इसका मूवमेंट कब कब हुआ?
सर 2-4 दिन पहले हुआ था सर।
2-4 दिन के अंतर इसका मतलब मूवमेंट चलता रहता है।
जी सर।
Far from the urban chaos, the daily drama of jungle life plays out in vast open meadows and grasslands. The mixed deciduous woodlands alongside are dotted with large herds of herbivores. With such a healthy population of prey, predators can't be far behind. Satpura is one of the best examples of wildlife conservation in the world. It's part of one of the largest contiguous forest and tiger habitats in India. What makes the area so important for tiger conservation is the natural corridor connectivity between the tiger reserves. As long as these corridors are protected, wildlife here will continue to thrive.
Inherently, the Indian culture, we tend to respect nature because we are the most populous country in the world. And compared to some of the other countries, the amount of diversity and the jungles that we have been able to save so far, to a very large extent, is because of this respect and living with nature that's passed down from generations.
In the heart of India lives an ancient jungle, fruitful, nourishing, supporting life for millennia. An ancient jungle that keeps the heart of India beating.